welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and from Patreon subscriber Cheese Dog, this is Eumidian Hatchery Loam Pox. Eumidian Hatchery is a sweet one from the Edge of Eternity's Commander set. Tap, pay 1 life, add black, put a hatchling counter on this land. When this land is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, for each hatchling counter on it, make a 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. Basically, what this land offers you is kind of a inside-out one-shot Bitter Blossom, where you lose a life every turn, and at some point you get that many 1/1 flyers. Rather than Bitter Blossom doing 1 life, 1 creature per turn, this banks them, which in some cases will be better, in some cases will be worse. Obviously, losing life when you tap your mana is not ideal. And there is not an Urborg in this list to cancel this out. I don't think there needs to be, but just noteworthy if you want to build in the Pox space. Like, you don't get the hatchling counter if you don't pay the life if you have Urborg, but if you are in a spot where losing a few life over the course of the game is more than the bugs will be worth, it's worth considering. Also, Cabal Pit in this deck. This land also hurts you when you tap it. So there's a bit of this going on that we're going to have to keep an eye on. But it's an extremely powerful effect in a deck that is so interested in blowing up its own lands. And that happens primarily through the card Smallpox. The name of the game here, this deck is Pox, this card is the Pox. Black, each player loses 1 life, discards a card, sacks a creature, and sacks a land. The secret to making this card good is making sure your opponent loses more than you do when you resolve it. On the surface, it's equal. Everybody loses all the same stuff. Below the surface, it's actually not equal because you have to spend the Smallpox and then everyone loses all the same stuff, so you're actually down a card if everybody sacrifices all the same number of things. However, we built our deck to do this and we hope the opponent didn't. If we're doing stuff like Life from the Loam, discard extra lands, washes out the discard of Smallpox, getting back those lands washes out the land sacrifice of Smallpox. Sacrifice a creature, our deck barely has creatures in it. It's a wall of bugs that come out of Eumidian Hatchery. There's 4 Orcish Bowmaster that bring an extra body with them that you won't miss if you have to edict yourself. Formless Genesis. Create an XX colorless shapeshifter creature with Changeling and Death Touch, where X is the number of lands in your graveyard, and this has Retrace. You can just cast that again. It should be unbalanced when we cast Smallpox, and Eumidian Hatchery is a great new addition to unbalance that. If not only is it unequal, but we add somewhere like 3 to 5 power to the board when it happens, that's pretty nice. You can also just wasteland your hatchery in an emergency. That's available. Like, if you have wasteland and hatchery in play, your opponent always has to think about how many bugs do I have to deal with if I go into combat here. A very cool new card in a shell that the BoshNRoll sickos I know already appreciate. I actually just released Modern Loam Pox a couple weeks ago on the channel. I'm excited to do it in Legacy, where Mox Diamond and Wasteland are added to the package. Let's check it out. You know what it is, and we have some cool new toys. This is Loam Pox. I'm on the draw in round 1. We're going to do a land count here. There are 27 lands in this deck, and there are 53 cards in my deck, which means almost exactly half of my deck right now is lands. If I draw a land, my hand is bonkers. If I don't draw a land, my hand is pretty bad. My opponent just said they got into Legacy because of me. My favorite thing to hear, as I squeeze them to death with Loam Pox. Okay, so half of the time I'm going to draw a land here, and my hand just works. The other half of the time, how bad is it? Thoughtseize is one of the best turn 1 plays in the format. Cling to Dust is a cantrip, especially if I combo it with Thoughtseize. I could even discard Bayou to Mox Diamond to play around Wasteland. I am going to keep this hand. Half the time we'll just be fine. The other half of the time we still have tools to play the game, which is, what I want to be doing. But Grist is one of the worst things. I'm going to lay down a Mox Diamond and hope they counter it. That would be awesome. I personally almost never counter a turn 1 Mox Diamond because it's just so shitty if they ever have 2. I Thoughtseize you. Force of Will and Narset. Wow. All right. So Force of Will's in their hand. I'm taking that Narset. And that is a big pile of basic lands. And there's a good chance this deck plays Prismatic Ending, which is real bad for me. Meticulous Archive. Of course, if I know that they're doing this, I just play the Bayou instead of the Mox. But as it stands, like seeing a Scalding Tarn, especially. Uh-oh, they kept the card on top. This can't be good for me. Blooded Strand. All right, deck, how about that land? See, Magic's easy. What are you worried about? Everyone was complaining and being scared, and you just don't have to do that. I think I want to play Currency Converter, and then another Mox Diamond. Oh god, what's going on? Did they draw a Spell Pierce? Counter Spell. All right, well, glad they countered that and not this. I'm going to Cling to Dust this Counter Spell immediately. Might still draw a land. Look at that. Look at that. And another Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize can punch a hole for Smallpox, but I'm not even convinced Smallpox is good right now. We know their whole hand. I'm going to put Thoughtseize in the graveyard. They have to draw a blue card here to counter Grist. All right, well, Narset's a pretty good blue card. But they currently don't have a blue card. They have to reveal one now if they want to force Grist, which I assume they do if they're able to. Days Undoing. Okay, so we're in check. And that Thoughtseize in my graveyard. Looking sad. Smallpox will not get me out of this. Grist at least plays the game. Like, we'll still get our day undone, but we can attack Narset and do stuff. Just milled over a Smallpox. Yeah, decks with good mana on the play. Not really where I want to be here. Oh, they drew Swords to Plowshares, so now I can't even kill Narset after the wheel. Alright, my day is undone. But we're not dead yet. That's all gone. Plus Grist. That's another land in the graveyard. Witherbloom Command. I would just have to drain them. That doesn't seem very good. What else am I doing, though? Alright, I am going to cast Witherbloom Command. Target player mills 3, I return a land. I could target them, but my graveyard's useful. Okay. I mill 3, you lose 2 life. I milled a bunch of stuff that's not lands, but there was a Catacomb there already, and Saga from hand. Alright, now we're Saga gaming against a blue-white control deck. Depending on how they're constructed, this might be really hard for them to deal with, or they might not care at all. Brainstorm. Life from the Loam is very good versus Narset. You can only draw 1 card per turn, but if I replace those draws with dredges, I get extra cards. It's a fairy. Alright. You want to clear the bug or start messing with my Mox Diamonds, but you know I'm holding a land. Probably bounce Saga, would be my guess. But if you bounce Saga, my bug can kill Teferi. Right, bouncing one of the diamonds, sure. Alright. I draw Wasteland. That's pretty nice. I'm going to attack Teferi and see what happens. Attack Teferi, Time Raveler. I assume they have a plow here because they didn't do anything. Interesting. Alright, I'm going to play this Wasteland and try to kill Narset. If they plow my bug in response, I can make a construct and still kill Narset. Wow, alright. This is just working. That must have been a bad Days Undoing. Wonder what's going on over there. I'll replay Mox Diamond because it makes my constructs bigger. And I am going to waste this Meticulous Archive. Floating a white. There's several chances to do something with white. I don't believe they have anything yet. Like, maybe Cycle Lorien revealed, but I don't think they had a spell there. And I was correct. Ponder. My tutor targets include... The Currency Converter is back in my deck now. I don't think I want Nile Spellbomb. Yeah, I'm likely to get Currency Converter here. Ponder into Brainstorm. The Ponder did shuffle, so that's a shuffle into a Brainstorm. They are spinning the wheels. The draw 7, and then basically not do anything for a turn cycle while I pick apart their board state is pretty exciting for me. Volcanic Island. Suddenly red is available. This could be 4th Aerolingus as a win con. This could just be 3 colors for Prismatic Ending. Yeah, it looks like they're working on... Oh no. Okay, so they misclicked. Okay, I offered to pretend it's not there, and they said, nah, you're playing Pox. Okay, I guess I will be the griefer then. I offered. I tried to be a good guy. But I guess I will be a monster instead. Construct. This Thoughtseize is going to be nasty. We know their hand is not very good, and now it's going to be even worse. Thoughtseize you. Brainstorm Dress Down. Oh, we get to snipe the Dress Down. That's so good. Their hand is actually pretty good. That's weird that their last few turns seemed so poor. All right, attack for 5. Jace plus Plow can stabilize this board, kind of. Oh, set up a Terminus. All right. Maybe that's why they let me have the Grist. They knew they were going to get me either way. Okay, so my board is completely gone, and Jace resolves. Ooh, we're going for Brainstorm instead of Jace. I would have shoved Jace onto this board so hard. They still might. Like, they have their land drop. All right, have a land drop. Still going to get Jaced. Unless they're worried about me top decking a creature, but they don't have to worry about that if they hit me with the plus. But Currency Converter can start working through it. Oh yeah, opponent is playing a deck that I strongly enjoy here. Okay, going for the Brainstorm. I do play 4 copies of Orcish Bowmaster. Light from the Loam is a good find. Bowmaster is excellent here. And I have Currency Converter to rebuy one thing, perhaps. Big draws. Witherbloom Command, not good here. Do I want to Grist first? No, because if I draw a creature, I want to be able to do the thing. All right, draw and discard. Smallpox. I don't think I'm casting that here. They are way better off than I am right now. Okay, Smallpox into the graveyard. I will put that under the converter. Witherbloom Command, target player mills 3, drain 2. I'll mill 3, you'll drain 2. This gets back Urza's Saga if it resolves. Yeah, I think Saga is better than Wasteland, and those are my choices here. All right, play Saga. Plus Grist. They are down to 7, and I'm at 21. Formless Genesis just hit the graveyard. All right, I'm all in. They bounced my bug with Jace, the Grist causing trouble for that, but Smallpox or Currency Converter making a rogue next turn can also threaten Grist killing Jace. They just cast Lorien Revealed. 2 mana left. Still have some fetchable lands. They got to be getting close to running out of those. Oh, that's devastating. No, why would you do this to me? All right, Formless Genesis gone. Getting splash damage from Reanimator being part of the meta right now. All right, I know they have a Swords to Plowshares, but I cannot beat Jace. So I'm going to put Smallpox into my graveyard. Then I'm going to minus Grist. And I can do the construct trick here, where if they plow the rogue in response, I can make a construct. Yeah. Make a construct. I guess I should have done this the other way, because it ends up being the same, except I gain more life if they have to kill the construct with the plow. All right, mistakes were made, but Jace is gone, doing the good work here. And I'll play out my swamp. It might be useful in hand for Converter, but I also think I'm going to need mana. This Soul Guide Lantern just has its foot on my neck for a little while here. Narset's in. We know Ponder is still on this hand. Basic Mountain. Lingus. Well, I think that'll do it. X equals 3. Well, if they want to kill Grist, then only one can attack me. This line actually dies to Lava Spur Boots, so they have to think about that. And if they kill Grist, then they don't get the Monarch. I don't have a Lava Spur Boots, but it is a card that I would probably be likely to have, or at least it's possibly in my deck. Okay, they decided to just kill Grist and not mess around with the Monarch. Play from the Loam, nice one. Okay. Construct. Not a lot left to tutor for. Haywire Might can blow up the Soul Guide Lantern. Is that even good? They exile my graveyard in response, and then I'm restarting from nothing. Nile Spellbomb's even worse. Alright, Haywire Might it is. And I think I have to cast Loam here. Like, there's no way to work around this. If they bomb now, then I don't get anything now, but Loam is in my graveyard forever. And if they let Loam go to the graveyard, then I get the 3 lands now. Loam also plays around Narset stuff. All right, yeah, there goes. I think that is the correct play. All right, here we go. I have a 5/5 versus their 3 2/2s. Nobody has the Monarch. I have Light from Loam in my graveyard, which is one of my checks on Narset. I can dredge Loam for my draw, or dress down. F me. All right, my 5/5's gone. Bunch of 2/2s with no abilities now. Prismatic Vista, which may or may not actually have any fetchables left. Everybody's coming in. All right, we're not worried about Narset anymore, it seems. Or they can protect it another way. Dress Down's gone. I'm going to Dredge Loam. I hit Raven's Crime and Wasteland. I want to attack Narset before I do anything else. See if I can get through here. All right, that turns on, and Currency Converter was already on. Okay, I'm going to Loam, targeting Wasteland. Hope they don't have Force of Negation, which is probably in their deck, unfortunately. Spell Pierce. All right, well, I'll pay. Interesting. Why use the Spell Pierce if you're going to Force of Will? I guess it stops me from blind converting currency. It stops me from dredging one time. I guess that's probably worth it. Yeah, if they hadn't Spell Pierce too, I could activate Currency Converter, dredge Loam, immediately discard Loam, and just have more options for next turn. Yeah, that was pretty tight. I'm into it. Dredge Loam. Now I got some lands in there. More than one. Let's target. Tempoing through life from the Loam is not easy to do, but it is possible. And if their hand is just a bunch of counter spells, what else are you going to do here? All right. I will convert currency. Dredge, discard. Do I want Loam under converter? If they destroy the converter while Loam's under it, my Loam is gone. That's the risk here. I think I have to take that risk. I'm going to need to survive. I'm dead in 2 hits, and a 2/2 is actually enormous on this board. All right, you're up. I'm going to block here to save the life. I take 5, but then I gain 2. This does change the clock. Okay, I'm at 8. Do you have Prismatic Ending or Teferi or something to ruin my life? Looks like no. Okay, in my upkeep, I'm going to make it 2/2, so I can Dredge Loam this turn. Draw, Dredge Loam. Target, Saga, Hatchery. Let's go. Hatchery and Wasteland. Saga's the one that matters. Everything else is gravy. Well, that happened. You've got 3 cards in hand. Raven's Crime you, discarding Wasteland. Put that into the Treasure Vault. Raven's Crime you, discarding Hatchery. I'll put that in the Treasure Vault too. Discarded Island. Did I lose track of this Ponder? I feel like they would have played it if that was still the last card in hand. They must have brainstormed this away or cast it and I just lost track of it. Well, if they have Ponder in hand, it's going to be the first thing they do right now. Okay, that didn't happen. They're slamming into my Rogue. Okay, this is not exactly the same because they get to keep a horse, but I take the same amount of damage this turn. Okay, Dredge Loam, target Barrenmore, Takanuma, and Beseiju. I have treasures in the vault here. Ooh, Force of Negation's brutal. Does that kill me exactly? It does. All right, well, yeah, I must have lost track of this Ponder somewhere. And I have no additional play. I can make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can make a 5/5. I guess I could loot here. But what does that even do? Tough. All right. They definitely just drew that this turn, or it would have happened on any subsequent turn. I guess all I can do here is loot and see what happens. I don't think there's anything that'll save me. Certainly not Thoughtseize. All right. That was a tight one. That was a game where I got Dazed Undoing on turn 4. They also misclicked their Prismatic Ending, so kind of washes out. Okay. My sideboard is not really for this at all. There's a bunch of stuff for combo, some stuff for aggro. Pithing Needle could name various planeswalkers. That's probably worth having. Them picking their poison doesn't make a lot of sense. Wear Down could blow up that Soul Guide Lantern that we've seen. They don't really have creatures and don't really care about their graveyard. I could Necromentia naming 4th Aerolingus. They might actually not be able to win the game if I do that. Oh, Jace the Mind Sculptor's in their deck too. Okay. Necromentia, Pithing Needle are the ones I'm considering. Thoughtseize is excellent. Haywire Might, mid. Nile Spellbomb, kind of mid. Shieldred's Edict kills planeswalkers. Smallpox, it is still good, even though they're a creatureless deck. Like, they're a deck that is really protective of its mana. Yeah, that game did ultimately come down to, had Soul Guide Lantern the turn I had Formless Genesis, found Force of Negation on the last turn where I was going to stabilize. Or was I dead anyway? Yeah, the Loam didn't matter, I guess, right? If I was dead to not Loam, it's not like I had a creature in my graveyard. Yeah, I was dead anyway. That didn't actually matter. Never mind. I take it all back. A Haywire Might. We could imagine things like Rest in Peace maybe in this deck. Orcish Bowmaster is very good. Witherbloom Command was terrible. All right, Witherbloom Command's out. These two cards are in. There's the answer. All right, let's party. What a weird hand for this matchup. So they have a ton of basic lands in their deck. I could just aggro Pithing Needle, Flooded Strand, and hope I get there. I think this has to be a mulligan. With a Loam, I'm all in. With anything to cast, I'm all in. This is 3 mana on turn 1, though. I could just cycle the Spell Bomb and hope to draw anything. Yeah, I got a mulligan this. Bummer. Okay, here we go. This is what I actually want in life. I think I'm going to bottom Takenuma off of this. This could be a back to basics deck, or it could support Blood Moon. Having that basic forest is nice. First appearance ever on the BoshNRoll channel of Eumidian Hatchery. Do I want to lead on Saga or Hatchery? Getting Saga ticking is nice, but if they kill my Mox Diamond, it's bad. Alright, Mox Diamond. I'm going to discard Basic Forest. I think that one's okay if they know I have it. I lose a life. Luckily, this is not a matchup where that's important. Starting to bug. We're bugging. A Ponder. Okay. In leading on Ponder, I wish I had led on Urza Saga, but if they lead on Prismatic Ending, I am in a lot of trouble, so I don't mind playing it a little bit safe. Do I want to dredge this? I think I will dredge it once, and then kind of chill on it for a while. Saga, trigger, loam back the lands. I can just float black with this. I don't have to use it for a spell. Just put that in the bank. All right, so they do have Force of Negation all of a sudden, which is fine because I was mostly done with that loam for now. I want it later. I want it someday. All right, what horrors befall me now? Stony Silence. All right, well, I got past that. By waiting on the Saga, I was actually rewarded. All right, float a black, put a bug in the bank. The old bug bank. Stony Silence messing up my Thoughtseize sequence here. I could just Boseiju, or I could Thoughtseize them, leave up Boseiju for the Stony, but I don't want to play against the Stony like that. How do I want to do this? I think I do want to Thoughtseize them. They're getting so low on resources here. Yeah, Meltdown. I was worried about Dress Down, but yeah, Meltdown can take a break as well. All right, Meltdown's gone. Brainstorm land in their hand. I do unfortunately have to ramp them if I'm going to Boseiju, but I don't have to Boseiju. There's the land. Yeah, there is a Pithing Needle in my deck. All right, I drew that one. Make a construct. See if I get to search, or are they going to fetch first? All right, I'm going to Pithing Needle naming Prismatic Vista. Okay, put you on the hook for that. And all right, Boseiju is... I'm going to push aggression here, which might be a mistake. Like, Boseiju is my out to Stony Silence, but I just Stone Drain them. Let's not give that land back when I could just add pressure instead. Another white. They're holding Brainstorm and one unknown. Mortuary. Combat first. All right, I gain 4 life. Their hand is Brainstorm. This is a spot where... Oh, all right. Just finding a wasteland for my own hatchery could change this whole game. And they can't play, like, Ruination or anything like that. There's the Brainstorm. It would be awful if they just 4th Aerlingus me for 2 right now. Or for 1. I guess they could do it for 2. Tundra. Teferi. There's not really anything to bounce here. I mean, you could bounce Mox Diamond. Yeah, just plussing that, putting a bounce in the bank in case I draw something good. All right, I'm going to Necromentia 4th Aerlingus. 4th Aerlingus, and then we'll see what win conditions they have. There is 1 Jace the Mind Sculptor, 2 Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, that is literally it. 1 Jace the Mind Sculptor, 2 Snapcaster Mage. We see Surgical, 2 Stonies, Wrath of the Skies. All right, that's gone. We got to beat a Jace and 2 Snapcasters this game, which we're not currently doing, but it wouldn't take much to start checking those boxes. Teferi's on 6. A Wasteland. Hello, hello. Suddenly 7 bugs. That kills Teferi even if it pluses. So they're going to have to emergency minus here just to do anything. I no longer care about Snapcaster Mage. I can also beat Jace. And these bugs are sweet. They do have a bunch of sweepers. We saw Wrath of the Skies and Terminus, both of which wasting my hatchery plays extremely hard into. But I think I have to start doing whatever I'm going to do here. Yep, Teferi bouncing currency converter. All right. I think Mox Diamond's probably a better bounce because it's harder to put back down. But it mostly doesn't matter right now. Unless I get a construct in play. Like now, if they Wrath the Skies, I'm actually more comfortable with Mox Diamond dying and keeping currency converter around in case I someday remove this Stony. Okay, you've got your Prismatic Vista back. I think they drew that ending off of the Teferi activation. All right, so Saga exiled from Soul Guide, but the Soul Guide can't be activated here. End step, float a black, and waste my own land. It's bug time! I will attack Teferi with 4 of these, and my opponent with the rest. All right, attack Teferi, 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 and opponent, opponent, opponent. This plays around 1 Swords to Plowshares. I'm not going to play around 2, because they only have 1 card in their hand. And I'm going to leave this currency converter in my hand, because I know they play multiple sweepers that could deal with it. If they don't sweep, they're dead in 3. If they do sweep, they have all the time in the world. I've got another Mortuary in the deck. Playing 2 of those is pretty tight. Good job, Cheese Dog. In a deck this grindy? Hell yeah. Alright, Orcish Bowmaster. We like that one. Now they're dead in 2, but they might not know it. Attack for 7. Another Prismatic Vista. 2 cards in hand. Wow! Eumidian Hatchery. That was a great first appearance. Making a good first impression right there. Alright, seeing multiple Stony Silence in the deck, maybe one Witherbloom command is still fine, though I do think the card is bad against my opponent. We saw Mystic Sanctuary, which means Cling to Dust is relevant. Cling to Dust is also just always relevant as a cantrip. Haywire Might does not exile Stony Silence because it is, in fact, an artifact itself. I think I like Witherbloom command more than something like Pick Your Poison or Wear Down, because it does stuff when they don't have exactly that card too. And as we just demonstrated, we can beat that. It's not even like I need to be super on top of that. Nile Spellbomb cantrips in a pinch, and we saw, yeah, there's 2 Snapcasters and a Mystic Sanctuary. So that is useful. Okay. This is my deck. They seem to have 4 ways to win the game, unless they just boarded in more. I like this hand. Keep. Prismatic Vista. I'm just gonna fetch Bayou here and play this Pithing Needle. Fetching in response, don't get caught like that again. And I think I named Narset here. Narset Parter of Veils. I could also name Flooded Strand, but I think I'd rather name an actual card in their deck than try to guess on which fetch land they're holding. Lavinia. Okay. All right, they boarded in some more win conditions after seeing Necromentia. I respect that. But that does mean that there is now a creature in play. I'm going to fetch for... Do I want to get basic Swamp here? Not really. But I might have to. Like, if they have Force of Will untap back to basics, I don't want to lose to that shit. Alright, Swamp, Smallpox. They just said in the chat, oh, right, that's why I didn't border in before. Right. Yep. Okay. I think the second Grist is my discard here. The Cling to Dust functions from the graveyard. The lands can come back if I have Loam, but I really need to hit my next few land drops and keep the game moving. And now that this resolved, I'm going to sack my Swamp instead of my Bayou, because they can't play back to basics next turn. Discarded a Spell Pierce, caught them with the shields down. That card would have been really good at some point in this game. Ponder. Now we're in business for a Life from the Loam. Malevolent Rumble. That card's sweet. Yeah, I was just going to Cling to Dust here, but I'm going to Rumble instead. And I am going to get a Swamp, since we're back at 3 mana where they could punish my basics. Mox Diamond Currency Converter Wasteland. I think I just want Wasteland here. Though Currency Converter is kind of a one-of unique situation. Alright, I will take the Converter actually, and I'll cast it right now. Smell you later, Eldrazi Spawn. This plays into Stony Silence and Meltdown and Wrath of the Skies. But also, if they have those cards and they're incentivized to use them, that distracts them from the Grist that's coming their way. Dumped a Narset. We got him. Pithing Needle doing its job. Or they might just be trying to find land number 3. That would be even better for me. Though, shout out to this Flooded Strand, which was my other name. The top 2 cards of the graveyard are Narset and Flooded Strand, which were my two choices for Pithing Needle. Oh, another Flooded Strand. It would have been so good. You can't think like that. Yeah, this looks like Meltdown. Yep, sure. Okay. Fair enough. Ooh. All right, I'm going to Thoughtseize to punch a hole for Grist. Thoughtseize. They do have 3 colors to deal with Grist. Ponder could be anything. All right, I did this to punch a hole for Grist, so that is what I'll do. I'll take Prismatic Ending. And they do have the 3rd Flooded Strand in hand. Outrageous. Okay. I'll play Boseiju and pass. If they use the Flooded Strand aggressively to get Mystic Sanctuary, I get a blowout here. If they don't, I have to kind of dance around it. Okay, it looks like I have to target Narset or a land here. Well, it depends on what they do. Oh, they just played Island. Great. Teferi. All right, I'm going to Cling Prismatic Ending in response. That's the one that deals with Grist. And their hand is Flooded Strand right now. The Boseiju. Grist. I'm going to fetch first. Get my Surveil land in the mix here. I guess it's supposed to be the opposite, right? Because now I don't want it. Yeah, I did that backwards and I'm immediately punished for it. All right, bin the Saga plus the Grist. Now I'm looking for Loam and hit it. All right. Never punished. Yeah, I was trying to be clever, like fetch first so I don't accidentally mill the land I want to fetch, but the fetch land I want to fetch surveils, which actually impacts the top of my deck more meaningfully than a random mill. I was thinking. It wasn't a thoughtless play. I just thought about it wrong. All right, please don't have Graveyard Hate right now. 5 mana. Is this... Oh, Lorien. Or Aerolingus. Lorien or Aerolingus were the 2 possibilities there, and that was the worst of the 2. That one of, now that we've seen their deck, we know it is a one of. And this game's going to be really hard to win from here, now that they have the Monarch. Dredge Loam. Loam, target. Saga. Takenuma. Hatchery, I guess. Okay, Saga is going in. And I take a bash. Yeah, I basically can't win this game anymore. Them turning the corner that quickly is not what I was ready to deal with. I think I could have dealt with anything else. I think I would prefer they draw 20 cards there. I would prefer they ultimate Tameo that turn to playing 4th Aerolingus for 3. But at this point, nothing to really do about it. I can't afford to Dredge Loam. I need an actual spell somehow. I also can't play Hatchery because I can't afford to lose life. All right, Wasteland. I'm giving up all my secrets here. And this thing is a 1/1. All right, I'm just dead. I'm literally dead on board. There's not even anything to do here. I could Cling Lavinia and try to gain 3 life, but that's not going to win the game either. All right, GG's. This is one of the tougher matchups. These big control decks with excellent mana and really powerful threats and no creatures. This is one of the worst matchups, and we made a really good match out of it. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2 with a hand I have to mulligan. There's just no black mana in here. If this Boseiju was Bayou, I'd be all in. Mulligan. I will keep this one. It's slow, but it's steady. What is the worst card in this hand? Every one of these cards has a role. I think in the current Legacy metagame, I have to respect Clean to Dust the most. I think I'm going to bottom Underground Mortuary, actually. Like, Dimir Tempo, this card's good. Mystic Forge combo, Boseiju's good. Reanimator or Oops, Clean to Dust is good. The opponent has a tapped Mystic Sanctuary to start the game. I will have a Eumidian Hatchery to start the game. Tick, tick, tick. The bugs are coming. Sapphire Medallion, holy smokes. Well, now I feel foolish for bottoming the dual land that could actually use Boseiju. However, I do have this Witherbloom command in my hand, which will find a rare, good target. I'll mill 3 and I'll destroy your Sapphire. All right, it resolved. That's lucky. I don't need another Urza Saga. I actually want Verdant Catacombs here. I think that gives me the most options. Brainstorm. on that backup plan. I wasn't expecting to get such a clean 2-for-1 when on turn 2 when I saw them lead on Mystic Sanctuary. This has to be some sort of high tide deck though, which is a deck where every land matters, so just jamming Smallpox onto a naked board is probably worth it, especially when I have the bugs. Okay, I don't think it benefits me to develop this Urza Saga given the matchup. I'm going to fetch a Bayou and slam the Smallpox. If they are high tide, like I believe they are, every land matters. I'll discard Bloodstained Mire, because I can just cast Loam next turn. Discard Bloodstained Mire, sack Eumidian Hatchery, and here they come. Bzz, 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 bzz. Much like Giancarlo Esposito in the film Do the Right Thing, we are bugging out. Brainstorm in the end step. Keep hitting land drops. 3 is the critical mass where high tide could start to do something. There's probably some extreme example where they could go off on 2 lands, but 3 is the number where they can go like high tide, turnabout, time spiral. Stock up. I'd very much like to draw Thoughtseize. The stocks are up. Raven's Crime. It's not really Thoughtseize, but it plays here. Crime you. Any card out of their hand, I'll take. And then Saga, Loam, targeting 3 black sources. We got Hatchery, Swamp, and Catacombs. Okay, I got them in a crime lock next turn. However, they just resolve stock up. They're going to have 4 lands. I could lose right now. These bugs look sweet. They're all spaced out. We got jetpacks on. That's why they have flying. You think bugs have wings? No, it's jetpacks. It's go time. There's a high tide. Snapping a bug. That's gone forever, and it's worth 4 mana. 2 cards left over there. Merchant Scroll for Brainstorm. All right, yeah, my hope here is that they are on a YOLO swing here, and the Brainstorm misses. They currently have access to 5 mana, which is not enough to time spiral. Snap gets them up to 7 mana. All right, now anything could happen. Uh-oh, 7 in the pool. Not good for me. Oh, wow. All right, they're wishing from outside the game. What is this going to do? From 0 cards and 3 mana, what can they do with this? Cast Back to Basics. You could get any non-creature. Yep. Reveal a non-creature card from outside the game, put it in your hand. I mean, it would be weird to have Back to Basics, but I guess, you know, depending on what problems they're trying to solve, anything could happen here. I am okay versus Back to Basics. Okay, yeah, they realized there's nothing they could do at 3 mana. All right, cool. Got away with that one. I mean, just for what it's worth, they had a gajillion mana at the end of that turn, and between the Smallpox and the Raven's Crime, they discarded 2 Ponders, and that's just 8 more cards they would have had to look at if I didn't do anything, and the Smallpox took a land out. They would have seen 8 more cards with 2 more mana if I hadn't done those little things. So it's not like they just whiffed. I did impact that game quite meaningfully. And for this opponent, I do have a sideboard. Necromancer, Mindbreak Trap, Damping Sphere, all good. We saw Sapphire Medallion. I don't know how much I have to care about that. We saw Mystic Sanctuary. I don't think this game is going to come down to Formless Genesis. That's just a really slow win con for a matchup this fast. Witherbloom Command did find a home, but I don't think that's how I want to do this, especially when I have other cards coming in that are much better against Sapphire Medallion than Witherbloom Command is. And I still have Haywire Might and 2 Besagers. It's not like I got nothing. Sheoldred's Edict looks pretty bad here. Grist is really slow too, but she is one of my primary win con / engines. I could cut 1 Grist for 1 Formless Genesis, but I guess Formless Genesis does kill faster, which if we're just playing some clunky 3-drop one way or another, this one probably actually is better than the second Grist. I didn't see a creature or planeswalker I need to kill. All right, here we go. This is the plan. I can't Thoughtseize till turn 2, but I think that's fine because this deck can't go off till turn 3. I'm going to keep Island, pass. Mortuary. I'd like to see a black source. Ooh, I'll keep that one though. Mindbreak Trap on top. It's cool that we're 2 for 2 on matches where I boarded Necromancer. I've put this in a lot of legacy decks on the channel and basically never get to play with it. Either because it's not actually that good or I just don't get those pairings when I happen to use it. for various reasons. And I'm going to Thoughtseize, which can set up Bowmaster or punch a hole for Mindbreak Trap. They have Wishes, Mind's Desire, Snap, Time Spiral. Interesting. I think I want Time Spiral gone. I can beat Desire with Mindbreak Trap, but if they just get enough mana and go High Tide Time Spiral, then Trap doesn't matter. Snap and Fey. Time Spiral does get pressured by Bowmaster. No, Snap answers Bowmaster. I'm going to take Time Spiral. I just think that's the one I'm currently weakest to with my hand. There's the third basic island from hand. Another Smallpox I can't cast. Now I can Bowmaster or start making constructs. Bowmaster's better against Snap, but if they're snapping constructs defensively like that... All right, well, I could get the Snap out of the hand right now. All right, let's do that. Like, Snap is also Dark Ritual. Like, it's like doing that is just Thoughtseizing Snap from their hand for the most part, which I'm comfortable doing. I'd rather do that now than on a turn where High Tide's active, where they get a Dark Ritual and a removal spell. And that's 2 spells, in case something happens here where a Mindbreak Trap is live. Their next spell I can get. And they know I'm sitting on Bowmaster now. It's a problem they're going to have to deal with eventually. All right, mana? Yeah, alright, cool. Do I want to make a construct? What would I do otherwise? I would just be chilling on Bowmaster. I mean, I like Bowmaster, so I will just do this. Are they going to play around Pithing Needle? Yes. It's not in my deck, but they did play around it. This could get Mystic Sanctuary, and it's right before my Nile Spellbomb would come into play. All right, they're targeting Time Spiral with that. Okay, that's on top of your deck. But now I can waste you. I think... Do I want Nile Spellbomb? It does cantrip when all else fails. All right, sure. I'll take Nile Spellbomb. Then I'll Wasteland my opponent. Then I'll play Swamp. And I'll play Orcish Bowmaster right up front. I'm not bluffing about what I have. I have Orcish Bowmaster. And they're drawing Time Spiral. I don't know that these cards are in their hand anymore because of the Brainstorm plus Shuffle. But I'm going to keep aware of them. The only thing I know is Time Spiral. Snapping my Bowmaster. Alright, that's 1 spell. No High Tide in the mix. Brainstorm. Yep, get it while you can. Another fetch land. Ponder. I don't know how many Mystic Sanctuaries they're going to have. Alright, we're about to find out if there's another one. Spellbomb's ready to party. No love. Merchant Scroll. Alright, Merchant Scroll resolves. This could get Force of Will if they have the High Tide already. Or it could get High Tide if they don't. But with only 2 cards in hand, getting High Tide if you already have Force, then you have no cards in your hand. High Tide confirmed. Alright, I'm going to Spellbomb in the end step, and I'd love to draw a mana to cast this Necromentia. Draw the 3rd Smallpox. You love to see it. And another Bowmaster. Don't love to see that. Alright, Bowmaster's on the stack. Ping you. I'm just going to have to hope that Mindbreak Trap does the work here. They're down to 10. A Time Sorrow puts them to 3. 1, 2, 1 card left in hand. It can't be 2 cards, so Mindbreak Trap's going to get them here. Fetch. Alright, so these cards are gone. Their hand is probably Time Spiral. Mindbreak Trap, cast by paying 0. I'd rather just cut them off than like put them to 2 and hope Trap can beat their fresh 7. Sweet. Yeah, some light mana disruption, some light discards, and an Orcish Bowmaster will get you through that one. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. This is more Mox Diamonds than I want, but I do like this hyper-accelerated Saga with Thoughtseize. Like, Thoughtseize, Wasteland, Saga are all action. Okay, a Tameo over there. I'm going to Wasteland first to play around Daze. I wonder if this is the Plagon Beach Party deck. Like, what deck has Tropical Island and Tameo in it together? Oh, just Nadu Breakfast. Okay, Swords to Plowshares, Nadu, Illusionist are the hand. Illusionist is the combo piece. I think I'm going to take Nadu here. This punishes me if they draw Nomad before my Urza Saga can tutor the graveyard stuff. But if they draw Nomad, I was losing to that Nadu anyway. God, they're just instantly fetching. Okay, basic island. It can't be Nomad. Fonder does a lot of work here, though. Tameo going to town, as she does. The Seiju is interesting. That can beat a Shuko if I need to do that. Or I can play multiple Mox Diamonds next turn if I need to do that. There's the Misty, Tameo, and it's my turn. Oh, alright, well, we just drew the Nile Spellbomb. How about that? I'm gonna go Verdant Catacombs, Nile Spellbomb. I'm gonna make it look like this is at the expense of Urza Saga, but then, surprise, I have Mox Diamond also. Okay, now they have to Nadu me, because Illusionist won't get it. The Swords to Plowshares does buy them some time, but that's a 4/4 on first arrival. And Tameo doing the slow work. Yep, Tameo continues bashing. Brainstorm. We're going to Planeswalker Town. And we know they have Plow to protect the Planeswalker on the first swing. Blooded Strand. Another Tameo. Now they don't even have to use the Plow if they don't want to. I'm going to fetch Bayou. First Construct. We know it's not long for this world. And Plow this, minus Tameo, Plow the other one, while first Tameo draws millions of cards, is also a line here. There's a fetch. My Pithing Needle's not in the main deck, unfortunately. Plow. And Haywire Might versus Currency Converter. Haywire Might could answer a Shuko. Currency Converter could turn this Mox Diamond into a useful card in the near future. Alright, Currency Converter, you win this round. And all I can do now is pass. Yep. Buying back the Plow. I'm not going to fall for that because I know they have a game-ending graveyard combo. Like, if I had bombed the Plow, then they might just go Nomad from hand. Okay, another Brainstorm. Insta-flipping the other Tameo. It's interesting they did it like that. I guess, like, if their hand isn't that good anyway, and they need the Brainstorm, that's a way to do it. There's the other Plow. A Bayou. I could Mox Diamond and put a treasure under the converter. Or I could play Grist and keep this. Yeah, I'm going to play Grist. I would rather loot away this Mox Diamond than spend 2 cards to get a treasure. And fetch in response, they're going to probably crack a clue here looking for Force of Will, or looking for blue cards to pitch 2 Force of Will. And they do have it, because that's how Tameo works. You just don't care about anything for the rest of the game. They pitch Cephalid Illusionist to do that. And I'm probably just going to lose to this emblem now. And that's why Tameo's so messed up. Like, if Tameo was just like a 2/2 flyer with no other abilities, but also popped off if you happen to have Brainstorm, then it's like an AB combo. But the fact that Tameo draws cards steadily, except when she's already winning the game, then like you just fully win all at once. Yeah. I'm over Tameo as a magic card. Level 1 Rumble. The Sheldred's Edict is the card I need, but I'm not allowed to take it. Haywire Might doesn't help. Wasteland doesn't help. I guess I'll take the Hatchery and begin banking an army. I'm going to activate Currency Converter. We've made it this far. Discard Mox Diamond. Put a spell under there. That gives me a 2/2, but not till next turn. That's a little too late. Witherbloom Command is the card I'm looking for now. Witherbloom Command, one of my Sheldred's, or my one other Sheldred's Edict. Edge Maze, dumped basic Plains. I have to hope that their hand is just like 2 Narcomoebas and a Dread Return to have any chance in this game, but they've brainstormed so many times that that's unlikely. Tameo's up to 8. Narcomoeba, well, Narcomoeba confirmed. Cephalid Illusionist, that one's in there too. And Nomad's Encore, alright. If Thassa's Oracle's in their hand, this also wins the game. Okay, I'll go to my turn. Formless Genesis is not it. I'm gonna loot, draw and discard. Thoughtseize, probably not gonna help here. Alright, Formless Genesis to the graveyard. Yes, I'll exile it. And then I'm gonna Thoughtseize my opponent. If the Oracle's in there, I can actually use Spellbomb now without dying to their combo next turn. Daze and Plow. Well, Daze just about ends my game here. So does not Daze, though. All right, I'm going to take Daze, and I have to crack Spellbomb. I lose if I crack Spellbomb, and I lose if I don't. I guess I'll just play to my outs here. I should fetch first, I think. Maximize my good draws. And at this point, they already know they've won, though. Children's Edict. We did actually deal with the Tameo, but it was one card too late. If I had the Edict and the Spellbomb, each opponent sacrifices a Planeswalker of their choice. Yeah, the Narcomoeba even stops the combo, even if I wanted to let them draw half their deck. Okay, now I lose. I tried. Hopefully they drew Dread Return for turn. All right, whatever. Mill your deck. Let's see it. We came one card shy of beating a Tameo that drew, was that like 6 or 7 cards? A pair of Tameos that drew 6 or 7 cards. Okay, they are activating their thing, so they clearly didn't draw Dread Return this turn. Milled over the Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, if Dread Return or Oracle were in their hand when I thought seized them, or if they bricked on a bad draw right now, those would have been the ways to get out of this, but obviously it's too late now. Oh wait, did they draw Dread Return for turn? They did. It's not in their graveyard, and they milled their whole deck. I mean, now they can just Memory's Journey the Oracle to the top of the deck and probably still win, but yeah, okay. They actually did draw Dread Return, and now I have to draw Witherbloom Command. If I draw Witherbloom Command, I win. I can mill them. All right, deck, please. We've come this far. We work so hard. Malevolent Rumble. Is there anything I can rumble into here that is good? Bowmaster doesn't matter. There's nothing that makes my opponent draw a card. So if I rumble and see 4 cards that are not Witherbloom Command, I just increased my chances to hit Witherbloom Command off the draw one. But also, oh, if I target Sepulchral Illusionist with anything, they lose as well. Okay. I got a lot of hits here. Orcish Bowmaster wins me this game. All right, Malevolent Rumble, let's go. We're playing. Yeah, Orcish Bowmaster to hand. Bowmaster, target your Illusionist, mill you for 1. Mill you for 3. Swords of Plowshares, Dread Return are the 2 cards in their hand. Neither of those stop this from happening. Okay, they said they messed up. They should have plowed their Illusionist before they Memory's Journeyed. Yep, that would have done it. Okay, play to your outs. Using that Nile Spellbomb left me dead on board unless they draw exactly 1 card from their deck. And guess what? They did. And if I just tried to beat the Tameo Emblem, I lose. So I just turned a 0% game into like a 1.5% game, but we hit the 1.5. Man, that was nice. Okay, we're going into a game 2, up a game. Thinly but beautifully. Strategic Betrayal's pretty sweet here. Target opponent exiles the creatures they control and their graveyard. Full passive action there. Pithing Needle on Nomad is big. Sack a flying creature is big. I don't think I'm trying to wear them down. I don't think Bantu's Last Reckoning is what I want here. I don't like Leyline of the Void versus Nadu Breakfast, because they frequently do back off of the combo out of sideboard, and then you just have to beat a creature deck. Witherbloom Command is really good. The Tameos in their deck are really interesting. I don't believe that is stock, or maybe I'm just being confused with Nadu Midrange, which I've been thinking a lot more lately. Right, I like all the lands that I'm playing. Raven's Crime is good. Cling to Dust is good. Haywire Might is probably mediocre. Like Shuko is the hit with that. And I have a million other ways to deal with a Shuko. Rumble, MVP that last game, but might not be that good now. I think Formless Genesis can chill. That's not really what the game's about. I love Small Pox. I love Shieldred's Edict. Witherbloom Command, phenomenal versus their deck. I could back off of a Mox Diamond if the matchup's not really about speed. It depends on if they're going to send it or not, which I don't think they will. I think I have to back off of a Grist. I still have Sagas and Bowmasters to win with, so I'm not super worried about that. And Rumble helps me hit Loam. Yeah, I just like all of my cards is a problem. Am I boarding in anything? Maybe the Strategic Betrayal. The second one I don't need. Maybe I don't need Pick Your Poison if I have all this other removal. I got 10 seconds to figure this out. All right, I'm shaving a Rumble. I'm not sure if that's right, but I'm out of time. All right, my hand is very good. I'm going to keep it. Mox Diamond is one of those cards you usually want exactly one of in a game. And last game when I had 3 of them and it took me a million years to loot one away, that's not what you want, but this hand looks beautiful. I don't love this Tameo, but I could just Edict here and then Thoughtseize later. That's interesting. All right, yeah, I'm going to play Urza Saga Mox Diamond, and I'm going to discard Bayou. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Let's just deal with this Tameo before it makes a single clue. It takes 3 mana to go off with their deck. Oh, days, got me. Fair enough. It takes 3 mana to go off with their deck. So I know I can't get comboed out right now. Okay, they just have the Brainstorm. So I was right to go for it there. They just had days. But still, Grist is the card in my deck that can beat a Tameo. Just, like, kill it. I can also just make some constructs that are really big and pressure it. The Mox Diamond jumps them ahead of the Tameo bubble. And they dazed, so they're back a mana here. I have 3 mana to their way less. Okay. I am going to fetch for a Bayou and pass. I don't need to fetch in the main phase like that. But in case they have like a disenchant of some variety, like something that can kill Urza Saga, if I fetch in the end step and they kill Urza Saga in response, then I don't get a fella. Dread Return. There it goes. They do still have the combo in their deck. Though that also means next turn, they're buying back Brainstorm. They know Tameo's in trouble and they're just trying to get paid for it on the way out. So that means when I pop my Nile Spellbomb this turn, or when I get my Nile Spellbomb off of the Saga pop, the Dread Return is hung out there. Okay, they're brainstorming now when I am not representing Bowmaster. That's fine. That's not what I was doing with my time and energy. We go to my turn, Strategic Betrayal, sweet. I'm just going to go in on Constructs here and tutor the Spellbomb, play Wasteland, attack Tameo for 4. I am going to waste their land. We're in that denial beatdown zone now. They can't combo. They've set themselves back a land with Daze. I have 8 power in play. I have Thoughtseize and Bowmaster that can keep doing stuff. Ponder shuffled. A fetch. Swords to Plowshares would buy some time here. If they invest in a Nomad just to try to go off next turn, hopefully I can punish that. Shuko. All right. Land would be great. Then I get to play around Daze and represent Bowmaster. Nice. All right, we're doing it all. Thoughtseize you. Illusionist. Oh, okay. They actually had it through the Spellbomb here because they mill their whole deck and then play Oracle from hand uncounterably. This is a very good Thoughtseize. Holy moly. Except that Orcish Bowmaster beats this line because they have Shuko, not Nomad. That means they mill 6 instead of their whole deck, and then they have to stop. I could take Oracle and just make their deck impossible to combo. All right, I'm going to take my chances and hope they don't draw exactly Daze here. I'm going to take Prismatic Ending, play Wasteland, and attack for 8. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. They can't have Daze. If they have Force, they lose Thassa's Oracle for it. They can't really afford to play around anything because I'm bashing for a gajillion. They've been playing around Bowmaster pretty carefully this game, so they know that it's a card I could have. And the play that I just made telegraphs it pretty hard. I just want to put them in the position where they have to do the messy thing. If they draw Nadu right now, that would suck. Oh, they're a mana short anyway. Because the Illusionist will cost 2, and then Oracle costs 2. And without Nadu, they can't ramp. Yeah, I think they're just dead. Even if they did draw Daze, they can't go off this turn. And then I bash for a bunch next turn, and I have the Strategic Betrayal. Though I guess Strategic Betrayal doesn't beat them. It depends on how hard they go in. Like, if they play Illusionist, back it up with Daze, Shuko down to sub 3 cards, like, if it works out that they can get themselves to that few cards. All right, well, there's Shuko. Here's the Bowmaster that you know I have. All right, mill yourself for 6. Stranchuko Saga milled off that one. Illusionist is dead. Illusionist Hedge Maze Memory's Journey milled off of that one, and that is lethal damage. Okay, game one, we played to a very slim out that we just hit, and even after hitting that slim out, we had to string together something, and even when we strung together that something, my opponent did have a line of plowing their own Illusionist to avoid the thing that I hit that would have beat them. So one of those miracle games in game one, but then just clean Pox magic, Thoughtseize you, removal spells, pick your stuff apart, game two. We got the full range in that one. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables. On the draw in round 4, getting cooked on die rolls in this matchup, or in this deck that really cares about being on the play. Yep, I'm getting Thoughtseize instead of Thoughtseizing them now. This could be Reanimator or Dimir Tempo or any version of Storm. I am obviously leading on Urza's Saga. My only chance out of this is to find the Nile Spellbomb before whatever they want to do happens. And I will discard Verdant Catacombs here. I'm going to pass. I can beat Animate Dead by Besageing it. However, if they just Entomb Reanimate right now, there's not a lot I can do. Wasteland. Yep, that buys them a bunch of time. And Ponder. All right. We could be settling into Tempo, or they're just taking their time to sculpt a perfect Reanimator situation. Regardless, though, this gives me time to draw cards like Thoughtseize and Smallpox and Raven's Crime and Nile Spellbomb and Clean to Dust. I've got action here. Even my own Wasteland's pretty good. Bloodstained Mire. I don't really want them to have perfect information. However, I think it is correct to get my Surveil Land here because I am suffering from action. Lack of plays. I do wonder if Dimir Tempo would have taken Mox Diamond instead of Thoughtseize. I think that play alone, because Dimir Tempo is very much a daze, keep you off balance, do stuff kind of slowly to get control of the game kind of deck, and Reanimator is a I want my cards to work kind of deck. We may not have enough yet, but I am leaning towards this is Reanimator. Nile Spellbomb. Is Reanimator main decking Nile Spellbombs now? I mean, I know Dimir Tempo is. Hey, that makes life from the Loam a lot worse. Most of my good cards just got bad. Shouldred's Edict. That's good against both decks. I'll keep it. It's a lot worse against Reanimator. I'll be clear about that. But it does work. I'll play the Hatchery. That one, I don't mind if they waste. Though sinking 6 or 7 life into that thing, if the game gets grindy and then they turn out to be some Netherglyph deck, could backfire. But also putting 7 1/1s in front of a Netherglyph is pretty nice. Alright, well, they're wasting me. I get a bug. They're just ripping off the Band-Aid on that one. A Jerktide Regent. They didn't change phases, which means I can Edict them here around days. A Small Bleed. If they have Force of Will, it doesn't matter, but that's not free. Force Pitching Ponder. All right, you've got a Murktide. And I just got one of my good answers to it forced. Smallpox off the top, GG. Wasteland. I guess I will waste their land. My plan is to chump Murktide and get myself to a spot where Smallpox resolves. I guess I don't chump the Murktide yet, because if I find Grist, it's much better to have the Insect token in play. And I can take 2 hits from this. All right, no block. Leaving myself good draws in my deck. Like, if I draw Grist when I have nothing, it's a terrible draw. Wow! Behold. All right, please don't have days. Okay, what could they do? I'm just going to attack first. Yeah, they can't Brazen Borrower from this mana. They probably don't have Stifle in their deck. Murktide's gone. I just love on camera when I play to some thin out, just make some heads up play that I don't think most people would make and get instantly paid for it. Last game with the I hope they draw Dread Return. This game with the what if I draw Grist? Ooh, Raven's Crime. Do you like the cards in your hand? Because they're gone. Discard Swamp. This is dangerous because they could just discard Archon of Cruelty. But if they don't have that card, they're in some trouble. Nethergoyf and Crime you once more. I don't think I need Besage you this game. All right, they're definitely Dimir Tempo. And we hit another Murktide. Grist is ticking her way back up as well here, which can challenge the Tameo. They need another mana before the clues even work. All right, well, they found that. Now Spellbomb and clues are both back on. One at a time, but if they crack their clue from this turn, draw a land, and then next turn clue, crack, Spellbomb, they can flip Tameo next turn with a land. But by then, Grist will be high enough to clear that out. All right. We've got a very interesting game unfolding here. I'm glad they're tempo. That takes a lot of pressure off what I need to be worried about. I'll fetch my other Underground Mortuary here. Do they want to play around Bowmaster? Now's the chance. There's a pause. They could crack their clue here. This Flooded Strand does not get basic Swamp, though. If whatever they fetch here is going to be wastable. I do not want a Forest. Yeah, they also open themselves up to Raven's Crime if they do it now. Okay. Plus Grist. That's happening. Build the other Beseju. Haywire Might. Bug theme deck going crazy. Is that Genesis card a shapeshifter? Yeah, it is. Kindred Shapeshifter Sorcery. I was just checking what bugs I have in the deck to mill to with Grist. There is Haywire Might, this Changeling Sorcery Kindred, and the other Grist. So I do have 3 natural bugs I could mill and get 2 hits off with Grist. I'll take it. I think my plan here is if they crack their clue, I'm going to Haywire Might the Spellbomb. Just rip the Band-Aid off. They don't get a card out of it. I don't lose anything super important from my graveyard. Okay, they're going this way instead. Fair enough. Now I could exile the clue. It's basically the same thing. Okay. Spellbomb resolves. This lets me keep Haywire Might in the graveyard. Exile that clue, please and thank you. Okay, we're both kind of in garbage mode. I have a very slow Planeswalker. They have a very slow Planeswalker. They're attacking Grist, which I would worry about if they had 3 mana, but they only have 2. Ooh, Edict. That was weird. Okay. Well, I guess if they... Tameo doesn't do damage anyway. Fair enough. That is a reason to do it that way. All right, Orcish Bowmaster, sneaky little fella. I'm just going to attack and pass and hope they get rowdy on this Tameo. A clue in the bank. Please cast Brainstorm. Please cast Brainstorm. Come on, draw a card. Draw a card. Yeah. All right, I can't finish off Tameo here. I'm just going to go face. This is only 2 damage. And if they flip her, I'll have a big enough Orc army to challenge her. So that's fine. Like if they go land Ponder or something. Land. Confirmed. Black mana. Nethergoyf's bad. Fatal Push is fine, but annoying. Okay. And that Nethergoyf is in their graveyard with 4 card types. Ooh, this one. I think I should sandbag that because what are the chances I have 2 Orcish Bowmasters? I could push 1 extra damage now versus potentially blow them out. Wasteland, okay. Tameo, attack. They can double clue here to flip her. Right, I'm not going to Bowmaster this one. I'm going to Bowmaster the next one. And that gives them 1 more card that could be Force of Will for my Bowmaster. All right, and they did find it. But if they don't have exactly Force of Will, this cuts off anything else they might do. Like if they had Fatal Push or their own Bowmaster. I just played around like 7 or 8 cards in their deck and got by a 3 of. I will not apologize for that. All right, Malevolent Rumble. Find another Bowmaster. I'll Spellbomb. I think that's quite good. Okay, play Spellbomb. I'm just going to bomb them immediately. There are Murktides in their deck. There's literally another Goyf face up right now. Tamiyo's over there. Could be reaching for spells soon. I am not going to dredge Loam off this draw, but Loam is now available to me. I'll put my 1 point that I have on Tamiyo and pass. Life from the Loam, let's do it. Tamiyo plus, no spells in the graveyard. Another Goyf 0-1. We love to see it. It can become 1-2 at any point with that Wasteland. Dredge Loam. Cling to Dust. That's really good. All right, I'm going to attack Tamiyo. Attack Tamiyo. They need an instant here. All right, float black, 2, 3. I am going to sack my spawn. Cling to Dust. Exile. 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of stuff that I just can't reuse. 4, 5. All right, exile the Wasteland, I draw a card. Okay. Then their Wasteland resolves. They still have a 0-1. God, do you have Bowmaster? All right, Fatal Push, sure. Life from the Loam, target my targets. And Tamiyo goes off turn after next. Tried really hard, but here we are. How many lands are left in their deck? 1 Underground Sea is already used. I could waste both Underground Seas this turn. I have to take a draw. I can't afford to dredge Loam. I need Edict or Witherbloom Command, both of which have been spent already. What is this attack? All right. I'll double block and get blown out. Or what could blow me out here? Not much, actually. They go Orcish Bowmaster would be good there, but the instant was already the card type in the graveyard. All right. Do I want to try to waste them off everything? No, I just have to draw. Currency Converter is not it. Wasteland you. Guess I will play Currency Converter. And then 1, 2, activate Converter. Actual draw. Oh, Smallpox. I'll discard Bayou. Get a treasure in the treasure vault. Play Bayou. And I'm just going to pass here. Like, obviously, they could draw half their deck, but I can't stop them from doing that at this point. Next turn, I could knock all their mana away. Maybe I was supposed to bluff Orcish Bowmaster and just leave 2 mana up, and now they know they can do whatever they want. All right, Tamiyo's gone. They've got 18 cards in hand. Another legacy game defined by Tamiyo, despite the fact that I had 3 creatures in play for 4 turns, and I could not deal meaningful damage to her. Fetched basic Swamp. Played Barrow Goyf. If I dredge Loam, can I do everything? Dredge Loam, cast Loam, make a land drop, Thoughtseize. I'm going to dredge Loam. Thoughtseize you. There's 2 Force of Wills left in this deck. Do you have both of them? Do you have any of them? You do have both of them. Great. And another Barrow Goyf. I guess I'm going to take one of the forces. Let's make the game about that. Life from the Loam targeting Wasteland, Wasteland. If they guess wrong here and force the Loam, then Smallpox can get them. Oh no, there's also a Daze. Force pitching Daze? Nope, didn't fall for it. Okay. Fatal Push is really good. Wasteland can cast. All right, I think I lose here, but here we go. I'm going to cast the Smallpox. This will get Force of Willed. And because there's a Daze in the hand too, I can't afford to Wasteland first, which is what I want to do. They could even let this resolve and just beat me with the other 16 cards in their hand. Force pitching Tamiyo. All right. Force pitching Tamiyo. I will continue the wasting. The wasting will continue until morale improves. Okay, they can add another Barrow Goyf to the board, or they could just Bowmaster to clear my insect and make sure this Barrow Goyf hits. Yeah, I think on that Tamiyo ultimate turn, rather than digging for an out or anything, I should have just left up 2 mana to pretend I have Bowmaster. Like, I could have just currency converted in their end step with the same 2 mana. Fatal Push, saving that Bowmaster. There goes half my life total. It'll be interesting if they decide to mill or not, because that is almost half their deck. All right, nope, they did not mill. Got another Tamiyo, and are they going to play a Sewer or a Wasteland? Misty Rainforest. There's 1 Underground Sea left in the deck. Okay, there is still a fetchable. Does Life from the Loam help? What can I get with that? I think I have to take a draw and just hope it's a good card. All right. Eumidian Hatchery. Oh, that's almost a good card. Cling to Dust. Can I meaningfully change the size of graveyards with this? I have the only Planeswalker. There is Grist, Diamond, Spellbomb. I also have the only artifacts. I can buy another turn here by casting Cling to Dust, which exiles Grist, Spellbomb, Mox Diamond, Grist. And it doesn't matter if Cling to Dust resolves or not after that. And I can target a creature and gain 3 more life. Okay, I'm going to play Wasteland so this play doesn't get dazed. Cling, targeting your Nethergoyf. Exile Grist, Diamond, Spellbomb. Oh, I get to exile 5. That's even better. They don't have a sorcery either, but I have a lot of them. I guess I don't need this Thoughtseize in my graveyard. Okay, targeting Nethergoyf, which will gain me 3 life if this resolves. Which it should, because we know their hand. Here's a fetch down to 7. And their life total barely matters. It's whether or not I can stabilize. Ooh, fail to find. Did they only play 3 Cs? Or did they lose track of them? Either way, I'll take it. Okay, bought a turn. Narrowly and weirdly. Yeah, there's only 1 C in exile and 2 in the graveyard, so they must have drawn 1 for turn last turn. Or they just only play 3. Ponder. I'm really glad every turn they don't just jam the second Barrowgoyf. I'm barely treading water against the first one. If they had just played that one, I don't think there's a thing I could do. My Hatchery can make a blocker for 1 life next turn. I don't have a Maze of Ith or anything I'm digging for. I'm at 4. They still decline the Barrowgoyf mill. I am not going to dredge Loam. I will play Hatchery. And I'm going to Cling to Dust another creature. The Hatchery doesn't actually block, though, because we know they have Bowmaster over there. They're just dropping that in the end step. Can I do anything with Currency Converter? I think I'm short on mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, short on mana. Okay. I'm going to Cling your Tameo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exile everything but Loam from my graveyard. If they daze this, it's super heads up, because then I can't make the 1/1 blocker. Goyf's down to 3/4. Yeah, there's no creatures in graveyards anymore either. The pipe dream continues. And I can use currency, or I can use Loam to avoid drawing extra cards into Bowmaster. Sewer. Dump to Flooded Strand. 3, 4, 5. I guess I do have to block this turn. All right, Hatchery. Waste my Hatchery. Because if I take 5, then I lose 1 and Barrowgoyf doesn't matter. Or then I can't lose 1 to my Hatchery anymore. They have another Bowmaster. Is this lethal? Now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. All right, I'm dead. What a big, tough opponent over there. Just using Tameo. Whatever. Oh, wait, no. I'm at 1. Cool. I get another turn. Can't play Smallpox. I don't have enough stuff in the graveyard to cling with. Right, I'm going to dredge Loam just because that's how I cast Cling to Dust one more time. Cling, targeting. There are no creatures. I'll target my opponent's Ponder. And then I lose to Bowmaster. Ha! Scoreboard. I drew a Bowmaster, that'll do. Okay. Tameo Emblem is pretty good. Strategic Betrayal comes in. That might be it. I don't think I want Bantu's Last Reckoning. That's like for Eldrazi or Red Stompy, like really extreme aggro situations, Elves, Cradle Control. Strategic Betrayal. Yeah, that's insane here. Pick Your Poison beats Murktide. Or Tameo. Yeah, that one's good. Haywire Might, not doing much. Thoughtseize is good early, but bad late. I think I'm going to shave 1 just because it's a bad top deck later. Command and Edict are answers to Tameo, which is kind of the only thing I'm really worried about. Kaito could be pretty good against me. I like the Spellbomb. I like the Converter. Am I going to Ravenscrime this opponent? Maybe. Every card matters a little bit here. Grist and Formless Genesis both look great. Waste locking them is real. Malevolent Rumble. I think that's my last cut. It's Rumble or another Thoughtseize. I think I'm actually going to cut another Thoughtseize and play to the board. Okay, this is what I'm doing. Let's get it. Yeah, I'm just not a believer in Bantu's Last Reckoning here. Even though it would have saved me last game. They were out of forces. Unfortunately got a mulligan this one. It just doesn't get under. There's just no mana to cast that first Loam. Oh shit, I hit keep! Oh no, I misclicked. Alright, well. This might be a disaster. God damn it. Oh. I think this matchup is actually, if not good, certainly competitive. And it would be a shame to lose it after that exciting game one over a misclick. Another Goyf. Alright, deck, let's just draw a land here, and we're on. God damn it. I'm so tilted. Okay. We will tough it out. Opponent, I did not think this hand was good. If you have Wasteland, go ahead, put me out of my misery. Well, that's not Wasteland. It does now represent Daze. It does now represent Bowmaster. Oh my god. Mox Diamond. The biggest insult of all. Okay, I'll discard this Formless Genesis. I don't think I've misclicked a hand that to keep that I've meant to mulligan in years, if ever. Like, that's just a very strange misclick to occur. That's so easy to avoid. All right, well, I've been Harbinger of the Seed. This Mox Diamond's now actually kind of good. Land? Any land? We did it. All right, Mox Diamond. If they Force of Will this, I'm in some trouble. That didn't happen. All their lands cast Daze right now. Or they still have a basic Swamp, I suppose. I think I want to Rumble. I'm trying to get ahead of Daze in a way that matters. Like, Rumble could hit my next land. It could even hit a land right now, and it makes the spawn. Force of Negation, pitching a Harbinger. Okay. If they're Force of Negationing already, that's probably good news. And now their Wastelands don't work. Okay. Kind of an interesting texture unfolding here. If they drop Barrowgoy for some horse shit, I'm in trouble. Nile Spellbomb. Okay. That does slow down the Loam. That's only part of what's going on here. All right, another Loam. All right, I'm going to Loam targeting Mortuary. If they want to aggressively Spellbomb this, that's fine, I guess. The problem is I can't even Strategic Betrayal because they have that Wasteland now. But now I can. Right, end step Bowmaster. Now I have a Bowmaster to challenge theirs. They're down to one card in hand. If they push too hard here, I could actually punish meaningfully. That's 6. They have Hardcast Force of Will showing right now. Pretty serious damage coming through. Draw a basic Swamp, become a legend. Oh, there's just Spellbombing me now. I love that. Now Force of Will's off. And so is black mana for this turn cycle. All right, basic Swamp. Oh my god! Call the cops. Okay. Well. Okay. I'm going to start with Strategic Betrayal. Or, no, I need to Bowmaster first. All right. Bowmaster has to happen first. Though I guess it doesn't matter. Brainstorm in response. Yeah, they can still sack the Orc army. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Do they have Force Blue card? They do. Strategic Betrayal still takes a lot of power off this board, though. And this is gonna resolve. This is gonna kill the Orc army and put the Nethergoyf to 0. And we're still playing. You have 3 power in play. I now have my mana under me. Wow. Oh, they just exile Nethergoyf. That's smart. That just keeps a point on the board. But now Witherbloom Command can stabilize and they're top decking. Holy smokes. How about that basic Swamp Rip? I've been playing at 2-outers this whole league. Nothing's going to change now. Okay. I can Raven's Crime first if I want to make sure Witherbloom Command resolves. Or no, I can't. Oh, I can't do both. Right, this is my green and my second black. Right. That's how that works. So I have to kill Bowmaster and gain 2 life. -3, -1, drain you. -3, -1, drain you. Black, green. Okay, I'm at 5 temporarily. That won't last very long. All right, deck, how about I draw a Bowmaster and just turn this whole thing around? Another Edict is good. Any removal spell is good. Grist is fine. I've got a bunch of draws despite this game being completely fake. Big rips. Hatchery is not the rip. It is the rest in peace. All right. I mean, that's really disappointing. This game was so close with a fake hand that I just didn't do anything for 4 turns, and the game is still down to 1 top deck. Imagine if my hand actually functioned. All right. I'm very disappointed in that, but you can see how this matchup is probably actually really good. On to the next round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. Let's just finish how we started. On the draw. I will keep this hand. Multiple smallpoxes. I hope they're good. Alright, well, if my spells resolve, smallpox is very good versus Delver. Mox Diamond's one of my best I could find. Okay, I'll take that one. That doesn't leave me completely shields down to Wasteland. If they have a Quarry Steel Cutter and a 0 this turn, I'm probably already dead. That rules. Okay, great. I'll take it. And I really want a basic forest here, but that doesn't cast Smallpox, so that's not possible. Scalding Tarn. I hope they cast Ponder here and not another creature. Bummer. Okay, another creature it is. I can't really play the game I want to play on basic lands, so I'm just going to get a Mortuary. Cabal Pit. I will take anything that is a land. I think I might even use the pit right now. I'll see you in the pit, motherfucker. Alright, Smallpox is on the stack. Because if this resolves, I want to sack a land I don't care about, which would be Cabal Pit. Cool, it resolved. I'll discard Loam and sack Cabal Pit. There's a good chance this other DRC ends up with Delirium here, because they can, discard something that you're missing, and we know a creature's going to die from the Pox. Getting Wastelanded here is bad, but that's always true. Right, they're in for 3. Wasteland, always bad. Not going to Dredge Loam. We're not ready for that. Baron Moore's got to go in. I have to Smallpox again to stabilize. Just got to hope they run out of lands before I do. Channeler puts me to 10. Don't play Murktide. Quarry Steel Cutter. Alright, well, they're doing it post-combat. That might be good news. Alright, it was good news. I am not going to Dredge Loam here. Alright, well, let's hope you can't cast 2 spells ever again this game, and that you don't have Daze in your hand right now. Okay, I'm going to discard... I really don't want to discard Grist. That's my win con eventually. Alright, I'm going to discard Rumble because I already have a permanent I like, and if I draw a land, Loam is great. Okay, I'm at 9. They have 1 card in hand. They could not trigger Quarry Steel Cutter last turn. Moment of truth. Right now, does their hand work or not is the entire game. Ponder finding any 0 puts a 2-2 into play. Didn't shuffle. Wasteland, alright. They want to play Garbage Magic with me. That's fine. They are way ahead on Garbage Gaming. Strawland? Drawland? Yeah, alright. I will take the beats to get this converter into play. I can't take a lot of beats from this thing, because I'm at 8 versus a Lightning Bolt deck. But I will take what I can get right now. If they waste me, I get a 1-1. Right, they just passed. Green source? Green source? Green source? More Loams. Alright, I will pass that. Alright, we're falling behind, but we know their hand doesn't do anything. And I can't just funnel life into this Hatchery versus Lightning Bolt. Oh no. Mana. I'm not ready for a Murktide Regent. I can never beat it. Tropical Island. Okay, that's an important reveal. That means they have the Seek the Beast stuff going on in their deck. Murktide. Alright, I don't think I can win anymore. What am I trying to draw? I guess I should float a mana here, because if I draw Wasteland, I can jump this thing twice. Swamp, no! I needed you any of the turns before Murktide Regent was in play. Alright, I'll activate Currency Converter and then concede before I discard anything. Alright. Ugh, that was so close. So tight. Imagine that game on the play. Pick Your Poison comes in. Strategic Betrayal comes in. I think I might want the Bantus here. Sometimes you gotta answer 2 things. It's hardly fair. Haywire Might coming out. I think Formless Genesis is kind of bad. Witherbloom Command doesn't... Oh, it kills Quarry Steel Cutter. Never mind. That one's staying in. I don't like it versus their creatures. I like it a lot versus their non-creature spells that make creatures. Grist kills Murktide. Smallpox is my whole deck. Thoughtseize can be mediocre here. And curving Thoughtseize into Smallpox is great, but it's such a bad draw. Okay, let's go. Right, on the play, I've got a Mox Diamond. I like those. I'm going to keep... Yeah, I'm going to go Saga Diamond here. Discard this Bayou. A lot of options here. Plenty of ways to spend my mana. Many of them lose to Daze. So I think I'll just Oh, cool. Now I'm going to have a target for Clinging to Dust in the end step. Brainstorm in the graveyard. Bobbling me. Have a look. Do you like what you see? End step, Cling the Bauble. There are fewer artifacts in this deck than there are instants. If I'm trying to manage Delirium, this is how we do it. I'm still playing around Daze more than I'm trying to get aggressive Bowmaster value. Now I'll get Bowmaster value. They have to have Force of Will. And they do not. Ping ping. Smell you later. All right, very good first 2 turns of this game. Let's see if we can hold it up. All right, just no play on turn 3. I like that. Sometimes these decks have Blood Moon, but I don't think the 3-color builds do, and we saw the Tropical Island. I'm going to keep Pick Your Poison. Murktide Regent's one of the things that can sneak through on me, and I would simply prefer if it didn't. I'm pushing here. Add damage to the board is what I want to do. Currency Converter. Baron Moore is pretty good with Currency Converter, but I'm more interested in just having mana. Smash. Yep, Seek the Beast in the end step. Hit Daze and Bauble. A Daze is going to burn off. I have no spells to cast even if I wanted to. But the Bauble will be a card. If they even want it to be a card with the Bowmaster in play. It's a card that hurts them a little bit. Misty from hand. There's the Trop. I think we're going to get the Druid here. Yep. There's Bauble. If they use it, Druid dies. Witherbloom Command. Okay. I can go -3, -1 on the Druid. And if they cast any spell in response, the Druid survives. But it does flush it out. And if they don't have a spell, awesome. All right, -3, -1, and I will mill 3 cards. Wow, Force of Negation pitching Daze. That was pretty desperate, but I like it. I'm going to add this Nile Spellbomb now. If they had 2 Dazes in this hand, okay, whatever. But if they didn't, I have a 4/4. And Graveyard Hate. And I am not going to sweat Murktide Regent because I have 2 answers to it in my hand. And I'll sit on the Spellbomb until it's good against a Channeler or something. Alright. They think the card's worth the ping. Which it probably is. Their Druid doesn't die now. And if they have Lightning Bolt, they don't even get pinged. A Braid, sure. Bowmaster is Gonzo. Druid's up to 3/3. If they have Land Meltdown, I'm actually in a lot of trouble. Even if they don't have land, even if they just Meltdown, I'm in a lot of trouble. Okay, their hand unlocked here. Brainstorm suddenly doesn't kill them. They've got a 4/4. I've got a Sheoldred's Edict. This Force of Negation doesn't necessarily mean that they have more than 5 forces in their deck. It might just mean that they decided to play that one in order to deal with life from the loam. I can play around Spell Pierce, so I will. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Choose. Which one do you want to sacrifice? Okay, another Force of Negation pitching another Daze. Alright, now they have the biggest creature in play. But I've got more going on than them. We'll see how this shakes out. They did not fetch in the end step. Brainstorm. I'm still kind of letting this Murktide thing happen. I could Spellbomb and draw a card. And if they don't play Murktide, I might do that in the end step anyway. But right now, if they're playing to a spot where they think Murktide is a huge hammer, that's great for me. Ponder. Like right now, they might be aggressively cantrip trying to jam that Murktide before I figure it out with Spellbomb, but I have already figured it out, and it's covered. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay. Now the Spellbomb actually does something. Though, I could make them pick their poison first and then Spellbomb them. Alright, I'm going to go for my other Underground Mortuary in the end step. And then decide what I want to do with the Spellbomb. Sheoldred's Edict. Alright, well, I'm not going to Spellbomb them then. Alright, each opponent sacrifices a creature with flying. How about that one? And then each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Spell Pierce is the only card that gets me here. Nice. Alright, and then I will attack for 4 and then Spellbomb them so Murktide doesn't show up. Because now I'm not ready for it. Then second main, bomb you, draw a card. Pay the black. Wasteland, heck yeah. No more green, please. Okay, I am ahead. I have Clinging to Dust in my graveyard to keep drawing cards. A Lightning Bolt stabilizes. I'm not worried about Murktide this turn. Meltdown's really bad. Loam's an insane draw. Grist is really good. Another Saga's really good. Swamp's not really good. Therefore, I could convert this currency, or I could play Cling to Dust. I'm more interested in converting currency, because that lets me do more this turn. All right, well, Mox Diamond's even worse than Swamp. I'll put that in the bucket and attack for 3. I could sandbag this Swamp to be currency converter material, or I could just develop mana, and I think mana is going to be more important. With Cling and Converter, I have 6 mana I can spend on any turn, just even if my card in hand is bad. All right, they sought a Beast in the main phase, hit Brazen Borrower, Ponder. That Brazen Borrower is very good, except they can't cast it. All right, there goes Ponder. The Borrower is going to burn off. I can make Construct a 4/4 this turn. Or no, this is not a land. It just smells like one. Okay. Cabal Pit. Not super interested in that. I think I want to Cling them to Dust. Exiling Tropical Island. Exile Spellbomb. Poison. Catacomb. I want the Wasteland on the Saga, so it has to be Bayou and Bloodstained Mire. Smallpox. I won't be casting that. Okay, I'm going to attack with my Construct, and I will play Cabal Pit. My plan is to make a 2/2 in the end step, and then I have 2 lethal things. If they do come up with a fetch land for Questing Druid, they're at 1, and Smallpox is lethal. So their hand has to play Questing Druid, deal with 2 creatures, and counter Smallpox without Force of Willing, because that also costs 1 life. Oh yeah, the squeeze. Poxing them, straight up poxing them. Yeah, I think this is the deck I want to play. Play or draw. All their creatures fly, so Formless Genesis mostly doesn't matter. Yeah, I think I want to play the control role here and just win with whatever's left at the end of the party. Oh, the colorless hand. That sucks. Colorless hand full of awesome cards. Math time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17, 21 draws turn on black mana. That is less than half my deck. They kept 7. Yeah, I got to mulligan this. That sucks. Okay. Same hand, but works instead of doesn't work. I'm going to keep and put probably a Wasteland at the bottom. It's a Wasteland or it's a Saga. Saga can start pushing back at them. Wasteland can collapse their life. I might have to push back at them. All right, I'm going to put a Wasteland on the bottom. Volk. Ooh, Volk Ponder. I'm going to Wasteland them. They didn't shuffle. They do have a Bauble. Bobbling me. Yeah, the Wasteland here not only has the high roll potential of maybe we just don't even play this game, but it turns off Corey Steelcutter on turn 2, which is a card I'm extremely scared of. Bloodstained Mire, go. Right, I'm going to Thoughtseize off of basic Swamp. Start testing these answers. Like if they force this, it's a force they don't have for my future Sheoldred's Edict. Wow, this hand is clonky. Look at that Null Rod. I guess, yeah, I did show them a number of artifacts with activated abilities. I'm going to take Brainstorm. There you go. Okay, Brainstorm's gone. They can fetch, jam a 5/5 Murktide. I do have an answer to it, but if they draw a blue card, I won't have an answer to it. This is an interesting turn. Do they develop the Null Rod? Do they tap out for Murktide? I'm going to start clinging their graveyard if they don't jam the Murktide. There's Tarn. Something for 2 mana is happening, but we knew that was going to be the case all along. Yes. All right. I'm so glad that happened. All my homies hate Null Rod. Ooh. That's a better answer to Murktide than clinging is. All right. Thoughtseize you again. Can't play around days, so I won't. All right. It's the same hand that I saw last turn. Now I think I have to take the Murktide. Yeah. It's kind of the same gamble as last turn, but now they actually have a full graveyard full of stuff. Burning Catacombs. I will keep hitting land drops. I don't mind that. Now my Nile Spellbomb doesn't work. I'm still going to play Converter. I have Passages in my deck. I have constructs that care about passive artifacts existing. There's a good chance they shuffled away this force here. At least I hope they did. Corey Steelcutter. That's already 2 spells this turn, and they can't equip the Steelcutter, which kind of matters. Sometimes matters. All right, Saga in there. Cling, target, Bauble. Smallpox, nice. All right. Now I'm not going to play Currency Converter. That's just a relatively free discard. to Smallpox. Okay, I'll pass. I might have to Edict a token this turn. Like, that's a fight I don't mind losing, but I also would be pretty happy if there's not a token in play. They didn't shuffle Ponder. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, you've got a 2/2. You've also got a 3/3. And a land. So that Force of Will has to be gone. All right, each opponent sacrifices a creature token. I'm going to Pox this turn cycle anyway, so I'm going to make the play that takes less damage. All right, Saga's up. Ooh, Hatchery. I could get a 1/1 out of this exchange. Might as well. All right, Hatchery, black, Smallpox. This is extra tasty because taking the spell out of their hand, whatever it is, also makes it harder for them to trigger Quarry Steelcutter next turn. It was Lightning Bolt. They at least got paid off it. I'll discard that currency converter. Sack the Hatchery. Okay, and pass. If they start cutting Quarry Steel again, like if they just kept a cantrip on top, I don't love that. If they just pass the turn, I do kind of love that. All right, it's my turn. I like Grist, but I like having free 2/2s more. I guess I get Nile Spellbomb here, even though none of it matters. Attack for 1. All right, we're pushing back. My construct is the same size as a token right now. Bolting my Smelly Face. Okay, am I going to get popped out of this game? All right, bolt. Well, I'm at 1. Or wait, no. I was already at 7. My brain was just like, oh my god. All right, well, I'll take this trade while I can get it. And I think I should fetch myself into bolt range. I'm going to have to use this fetch eventually. I'll get a Surveil out of the deal, and I get to resolve Grist. Bowmaster, wow, you're pretty good. All right, I'll put Bowmaster on top, and I'm going to play Grist. I'm going to plus, and I'm not going to attack unless I mill a bug. If I get 2 bugs here, just 1. All right. I'm not going to attack because I don't want to lose to Ponder into random spell. I die to Bolt no matter what. Nothing I can do about that, except draw a land for Cling to Dust. Raven's Crime, sweet. All right, crime time, baby. That locks Quarry Steelcutter out for a while. Days. All right, well, I am not going to pay 1. Plus Grist. And now I can attack. I'll attack with my Flying Bug. And now it's just a damage race. I am way ahead in every way, except that I'm at 3 versus their Lightning Bolt deck. That's the one thing they have going for them. Cabal Pit. Ugh. Dangerous. Plus Grist. Would I rather Raven's Crime or get Cling to Dust online, but it costs me a life to cast it? I think I want a Crime. I love Crime. I discarded Scalding Tarn. Now I can attack for 2. Seek the Beast. Dangerous stuff. Here we go. Don't show me Lightning Bolt. Mountain Force of Will. All right. Blanks. We love blanks. They can't even play that Force because they don't have cards in hand or 5 mana. I'm going to get Bowmaster in here and start pushing. I was just playing around Daze last turn. I don't want to get got by a Daze in this environment. There are still 0 creature cards in my graveyard. Strategic Betrayal. Okay. Plus Grist. Cling to Dust is off. I'm going to attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. I will make it lethal. And they have to draw Lightning Bolt right now. Because of their Null Ride, they can't draw like DRC and equip it and hit me for 4 Flying Trample. And they have room to Ponder or Brainstorm and hit the Bolt. I'm just going to hope that doesn't happen. That play to crime them instead of Cling and go up to 5. All right. Yep. 1 mana short. Obviously, like... Oh, wait. That was game 3? Damn it. I thought we had another one. All right. So, maybe I'm just supposed to get out of bolt range there. I was worried about getting dazed. But if I get dazed, I just go to 2 and their hand is still out. All right, yeah. I'm willing to call that just a straight up punt. Okay. There it is, folks. Pox, an unfortunate throw in a bad matchup, or in a good matchup when I just kept a hand I shouldn't, and then probably should have just cushioned my life total up to 5 on that turn where it was available to do so. But overall, the Eumidian Hatchery, have I been saying Eumidian? Eumidian. No, that's what it is. I think I've been saying that. Eumidian Hatchery was pretty cool. In just the first match of the league, I popped 7 tokens out of this and took a game because of it. A couple times I popped 1 or 2 out. Didn't really get to pop off, but it's just not that many rounds, all in all. As far as this list goes, I don't think Formless Genesis is necessary. If you have the 4 Bowmasters and the Urza Sagas and the Currency Converter and Grist, I think it's a mistake to dedicate a slot in a deck as tight as Pox to something that all it does is put power and toughness on the board, when all of our other power and toughness do other things too. That could open up a slot. You could main deck. You could play another Shoulder's Edict. You could even main deck a Strategic Betrayal or something like that. You could get the Pithing Needle from the board into the main, then you open up a board slot. All in all, though, that's really my only note for this. There were times where Witherbloom Command was really bad. There were also times where Witherbloom Command was one of my 3 or 4 cards in my deck that could win. In the Tamiyo metagame, I think you need to be playing a pretty high density of answers to her. And getting Pithing Needle in the main gives you another way to deal with that. Yeah, I think I would just cut Formless Genesis, add Pithing Needle to the main, open up a sideboard slot, and you can decide how you want to spend it. But this was a well-constructed deck. The hatchery was sweet. I love loaming and I love poxing, and we got to do quite a bit of both. I'm going to leave that here. Cheese Dog, thanks for sharing this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.